Hello, my friends. If you've been following along, you know that a lot of what I'm doing is in order to do SEO work. And I figured I'd start with one of the most common of all tasks, which is to take a screen snapshot. So I have here a little URL plugged in, a Google search. Currently, I have Headless set to false, meaning you will see Chrome pop up when I do this. Now, I'll show you a little nuance I found. So there's a search on my name plus SEO. And if we go into my repos to my first one here, because it's sorted by newness, I can see that screenshot. Now, it looks good at first, but when you zoom in, you can see it's actually cropping off on the right-hand side. And it doesn't get all the way down to the bottom. And I played around with it, and a showstopper, you may think. Well, not quite so. We close out of it. So one of the questions I had is, can I control Chrome automatically with this new tech? And the answer is clearly yes. I was able to do it in a container before, so naturally I can do it one step up in merely Windows subsystem for Linux. That's the Linux version of Chrome, by the way. Now, the interesting thing is if I change Headless to true, which is one of the major things I need to test, because little of this is worth much less if I can't take certain automations and throw it onto a headless server. So here it is doing the same thing, and when the asterisk goes away, you'll know it has finished executing. See, it came back. Now, if I go back over here and look at the screenshot, look how beautiful that is. Now, there are pictures missing in the middle, but it is not clipping to the right, and it's getting all the way to the bottom. And it's 100 results per page because it's logged in as me, whoops, and that's what I have the default set at. So when we scroll way up to the top here, you can see that actually is a login as one of my Gmail accounts. So this is under the context of me, and yes, it customizes results and such, but I have so many cases where I gotta be me. When I do my browser automation, username and passwords, it's a wonderful shortcut not having to deal with username and passwords in your code. I do that a lot. You can also do it in anonymous mode. I'll cover all that sort of stuff later. You can simply not point it to a data file. So if you're wondering why that works, it's because these values right here, this is the Google Chrome, the Linux version of Chrome. And then this one here is the user data. That's where my user data is actually stored. Home, ubuntu.config, Google-Chrome. And I set my download path as well. So you can even do automated downloads and they end up in that location. What else can I show you here? That's just such a wonderful, introductory project on this automation stuff. So I will restart kernel and clear all outputs, and I'll turn it into a GitHub repo and throw it into my DrinkMe Linux. Right now I'm including a couple other repos. But this seems like the one that should be in there so I can start building up like an SEO product from scratch, such as it were. So I open a terminal, and my regular terminal now is the same one that the DrinkMe script creates. So this is my full-time thing. If you're following along, cd into DrinkMe. No, well, we are going to have to be there. I'll do two terminals. I'll do one there, and I'll do one here, because here we want to cd into automate browser ls. You can see the one file I created there. Git init turns it into a Git repository, not a GitHub one yet. We'll get to that. Git add template.ipynb, git commit, doing screen snapshot. And I can't just git push right away because I just created this from scratch. So I guess I go over to the GitHub page. New repository. Automate browser. It's a public one. I don't do these very often. Public repo, create repository. I'll worry about licensing later. But now all I have to do is these, because I've already made it into a repo. So we go over here, paste anyway. And now it's up there. If I go back over to GitHub and I do a refresh, you'll see the repo is there. There's template.ipynb. And if I want to make this what gets pulled down now with the DrinkMe thing, I just, here's all the files that are in the DrinkMe Linux that you've been seeing me do. Previously LXDWin, now it's DrinkMe Linux because they're following the Alice in Wonderland motif. I just vim the git installs. And the time has passed for where I am doing OAuth. Don't need that. That's going to be automate browser. And we'll get rid of this one here. And so that's now cloning automate browser. I double check my spelling. Automate browser, automate browser, automate browser, and that's pretty much it. Now this will be one of the repos that gets included when you follow my instructions on getting Linux on your Windows machine. Git commit, changed git repos, git repo to automate browser, git push, simple as that. I'm creating server build scripts. So now when you follow my instructions and in a web browser, you go to mikelev.in/ux. I got to put a link to that on my main homepage so when people forget it, it's easy. If you go over here and you do new text document, install.bat, yes, edit, paste it in, save, quit, and you double click that and it'll build a whole little Linux server on your Windows 10 or 11 machine, and you'll be able to go into Jupyter and load that repo up. I'm tempted to just show you the whole process, but I did that earlier today. I don't need to make you suffer through all that. But after you do it and you get your icon to launch it and you go into your Jupyter lab, you will then have a repo called Automate Browser that you can go into, and you can do this and start customizing it to your own needs. And that is the starting point for many projects to follow that'll walk through many of the standard things that SEOs need to do in the industry. I should probably rename template to screenshot, but this will do it for now. And thanks for joining me. Hope to see you again soon. Don't forget to subscribe.